Hello, okay, now it's working. So this USB mic is always giving me troubles. Okay, let's see. Where's the button I need to click? That's not it. That's not it. Oh, here. Okay. Yeah, so still haven't found a nice setup or a setup that works, but I think this is okay. So now the microphone might be a bit too silent again. Let's see, how about this? Is any better? Okay, I think I'll mess with the properties just one last time. Hey Doomslayer, how's it going? Hey, that generic Dixie Normos picture guy. Hey Toby Strim. Hi Blue Fangs, how's it going? Hope you can throw me a couple ideas. I want to paint my neck on Grimdark with a teal turquoise glow color scheme. Gotta be a speed paint. Got to be a speed paint. I mean, you can always paint them. You can always paint them metallic, and then just, you know, throw on a couple of washes, and then do the, I don't know, you know, the way I did my OSL on the last video, where I just I just let the color run into the recesses. That's relatively quick, so you can do that on an assembly line. Once you're done with the washes and all of that and the shading, you just make sure that you start with a really dark color, so you can even do like a turquoise mixed with black for the recesses, for everything that should glow from the inside. And then you just let you know, more and more brighter color run into the recesses. So again, just like I did with in the last video, where I painted neck runs. So let's see. I need to edit this properties. No filters. Yes, that's it. Gain. The gain is already really high, but I think I'll crank it up like this. Testing, testing, testing. Might be too loud even. Testing, testing. Okay, yeah, that's good. For once, I want to start a stream and everything should be working, but I guess we'll never have it. So, let's see who else is here. Hey Tim Cafferty. Hey Senator Primer, that's a nice name by the way. Okay, let's see. So I wanted to do this one, but I have a problem. I'm not sure if I like the pose. Let's see, we need to find a good light setup here too. Also, where's my glasses? Oh, here they are. Oh, and another thing. Wait, where did I put that? Oh. Look what I just received. Oh, John Jackson. Not allowed to do that. Wait. You see it? Yeah, I just received that. Today's the 8th. The NDA ends tomorrow. So if that would have ended a tiny bit earlier, I would have painted those on the stream, but I can't, so too early to unbox. Exactly. I'm a bit bummed out because I wanted to do Black Templars next for the video, for the next Grimdark video, and it's kind of weird because I really want to do another Space Marine video next, and I don't know if it's really that good for the channel, because in the end I just, you know, I just would like to do all the Space Marine chapters in one go and be done with it, because it's really fun to paint that way, and it's also really fun to me to paint Space Marines. But I don't know if that's good for the channel. I mean, the videos are doing great, right? Every time you do a Space Marine in kinda another way that has already been done 100 times, it's doing quite okay because people always are looking for that new way to paint interesting Space Marines, because there's a lot of people playing Space Marines. But yeah, I don't know. People might be starting to unsubscribe if I posted 3 Space Marine videos next. Oh, we'll see. Hey Noah Backhorn, hey Alexander Ozga, are you planning on painting the Black Temples at some point? Yeah, they are next. So obviously not today, but I'll start to do that video tomorrow. So I still need to finish 2 Patreon videos. Those will go up next, and then I'm doing a blending video that already is taking ages, but I just want to do that because I feel like it's the next step in the basics videos, where I talk about how I blend and all the other blending methods that you can use. And I started that ages ago, and I need to finally finish it. But then I'm going to do the Black Templars. Wash him dirty, how ironic. Hey Leonidas, is that correct? Yeah. I'm painting it. I thought I wanted to paint this one, and I guess I want to paint this one. I have a bit of a problem with the pose, so what he's doing is something like this. I guess it's okay. I'm just not super keen on doing that one. I feel like, you know, with the more dynamic and what's it called? Dynamic and words elude me today. Dramatic pose of the Blood Angel. I kind of want to do another one. I almost feel like that one would be better. This one here, because he has the sword like upright, and there's a different dynamic going on with like different lines. So you know, the line that you can draw from his face to the sword up here, and then you have a counter running line here. That's a lot more interesting than this. I mean, again, this is not bad, but the thing is, I guess if that sword was more like up here, it would be okay. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe you guys can forgive me if I just assemble something on stream for a change. Yeah, we'll see. Hey Mighty Pie. Space Marines are always popular. Yeah, exactly. It's just I also want to do other videos, but it's a bit of I don't know, a bit of how do we call it? So where am I going with the channel, right? Because I can't really do that many videos on the YouTube channel, because that's not what's paying the bills, unfortunately, but that's the way it is. So I might as well do videos that are doing really good, right? So in the past I've been doing a couple of videos that I thought are important, like the photography video, but that one was not too well watched. It only had like 24,000 views, and the Blood Angel is already towards 50,000, or is it just over 50,000 there? And that also draws more subscribers and stuff, so I should maybe be doing what I enjoy and at the same time gets views, huh? Would you find any fun in a Goobertown style roulette challenge? So I don't exactly, I saw the videos, but I don't exactly remember what he's doing. Is he just picking colors randomly? It's been a while ago since I saw one of those videos. But I mean, random things, I mean, could always do that. I just don't know how to necessarily pick stuff. Would have to involve the community, I guess, somehow. Hey Dark Jim. Hey HL17. Any plans on doing more sculpting videos? Right now, no, because I simply don't have the time. Well, I have a plan for one sculpting video where I just do my next miniature release, you know, from start to finish. Kind of what Miniac did, but I also don't know if that's going to draw views. So again, I have to think more along the lines of what's going to get views, because if I invest 10 days into a video and then it doesn't get, like, you know, above 20,000 views, that's a lot of investment. That's a lot of work invested, and I also have to be a bit more cautious with where I invest my energy, because again, I have been feeling that we went on vacation, right? But before that, I was pretty burned out, because I went right from teaching, and the last 2 years teaching were pretty exhausting. I went right into content creation. I was super enthusiastic, and I did a lot of videos, but I was burned out. So I really needed that time off. So I've been thinking a lot about what videos to do, and I have to make the videos that get views. I can't do any other videos. It's unfortunate, but you know, and I can't do all of these videos, you know, I painted an army and blah blah blah, 24 hours. I don't want to do these videos. I'll do something similar, but again, I kind of need to do what I want to do, what is fun for me. You have to balance popular with artistic view. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I guess, hey Taria, by the way, I can still do artistic things, you know, because I mean, I don't want to call it artistic, because I don't think of myself as an artist when I do miniature painting, right? But creative things, like just applying all of these techniques that we did in the last Space Marine video, that basically are coming from scale modeling. That was fun to do. It was, you know, something new. At least I never did it, so I wanted to try new things and do stuff and just keep on experimenting. Because I mean, I always say it, I don't have everything figured out, right? And it would be boring if I had everything figured out. So let's see. Let's see how many viewers we drop. But I really want to assemble that other Space Marine, or just, you know, check whether or not I like the pose better. So I'll just get it out of the frame, get all the components out of the frame, and then decide. So let's see, we can zoom out a bit here. So what's everyone up to? I'm not up to date what is, you know, new and hot, and I mean, I kinda know that there has been a couple of orcs released because Games Workshop sent them all, and it's unfortunate because I didn't necessarily need them or wanted to paint them. I'll probably do a giveaway. Oh yeah, I also have one, I do have a spare Emperor's Champion that I'll try to do a giveaway somehow, so either on YouTube or on Instagram. So I don't know, if you're not following me on Instagram, that would be pretty nice if you know, could throw me a follow. That's my name again. Oh yeah. Instagram has been going through the roof, by the way. So I did the, what are they called, the shorts? No, the reels. And I almost have like 60,000 views on that last reel that I did. I guess, yeah, it's almost 60,000. I guess Instagram wants to be TikTok. So they're really pushing all these reels. But yeah, just I think the 1 minute small tutorial format is really good on Instagram. I've been trying to also post the what's it called, post 2 shorts on on YouTube, but it didn't work that well. But it was interesting to see, and I certainly gained a couple of new followers. Okay, here's the link. So yeah, if you want to get into the Empress Champion giveaway, you will have to follow my Instagram. But yeah, what's everyone up to? What's everyone painting? Let's see. Yeah, and later we're also going to do. So I already have. Oh, I didn't send that message. Yeah, so I have the window already open. So let's see.
How did you find me?
Thanks, Alan and Gohan. Welcome. Let's see. So streaming like every second week is really weird because I don't know all my buttons. But screen cap, right? Yeah. So I have the feedback channel lined up. Gallery for feedback. So yeah, if you don't know, I have a gallery for feedback channel on my Discord, and yeah, people can post pictures there, and as the stream progresses, we're going to go over all of these entries. I just don't want to jump right in. I just want to, you know, get all the talking out of the way, and maybe start on a bit of assembly and decide what we're going to do with the rest of the time. But yeah, in the middle of the stream, we're going to do. I'm going to start at the bottom because I couldn't find where it starts, because I'm really behind on everything because of holidays and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what we are going to do later. So let's see, back to this. Yeah, there we go. So let me catch up on chat.
How did you find me?
Oh yeah, and if you want to, oh, Stephen Therese, thanks a lot. If you're watching on YouTube, it would be awesome if you could spend a second and like the stream, because when a lot of people like a live stream, then it gets recommended to more people, and that also helps with discovery. And as you know, I always try to grow the YouTube channel, and all of that stuff really helps. So thanks a lot. But yeah, if you also want feedback, obviously you have to be either Twitch subscriber, YouTube member, patron, but everything starts from $2, and I don't think that's a lot of money, you know, to invest, and then you can get feedback. And I decided to do that whole thing because I have to type all of the feedback, right, and that takes a lot of time. And because I always fall behind so much, I decided to do it every Friday. Not every Friday, but every Friday stream. So every second week, just go through it and give feedback. And I thought it would be interesting that people can also see what I feedback, you know, on YouTube and on Twitch. And then the people that I feedback that are not watching it live can always watch the VOD through the Discord. So that way I can do a lot more, and it takes a while, but I can go more into detail and yeah, give more and better feedback. So I think that's a win-win situation.
How did you find me?
Thank you, Drusilla. So yeah, people watching live can, you know, get more general ideas about what miniature painting is and how to make miniatures look a bit more interesting and a bit more credible. And the people that post will get deeper insight and more feedback on their individual miniatures.
I would like to just get to know you.
Thank you, Steen. Arrow, thanks a lot for becoming a YouTube member. There you go. So next you can go to the Discord, link up your channels, I'm sorry, your accounts, link your YouTube account to the Discord account, and you can post in all of the channels. Yeah, so again, that's 2. Who else is winning? I don't know, maybe I might be winning, but I think it was someone else. Yeah, and again, it helps me support the videos a bit more. It's a bit of a more steady income, obviously. And yeah, more people can get feedback. Yeah, that was the point, right? Because I
nice to meet you.
can do. Thanks for following with mine. I get like 12-15 messages per day that are asking for feedback, and I just can't do it. Like I get 10 Instagram messages each day, and people ask me for feedback, and it's impossible. I would not be doing anything else, right? And this is my job, and it is what it is. I have to, you know, at least ask for the Discord membership price. So. I don't like it, but you know, if the YouTube would be doing better, I would not have to do all of this. But YouTube isn't doing that good, so. But I don't want to complain. I'm fine. It just has to be a bit of a balance.
How did you find me?
Thank you, K Shevchenko. Thank you. You should make an orc. It's October after all. Yeah, thought about it, but I really want to do Black Templars. I want to do Black Templars instead. What about painting a color you rarely or never use? That would be a cool video. I thought about that, and I really don't like purple. So I thought about doing purple, but then the Black Templars came out. So we'll see. Nearly 88,000 subs, nice one. Yeah, but I mean, I'm happy about it, don't get me wrong.
First,
but
I would like to just get to know you.
Angel Polanco, thanks a lot for becoming a YouTube member. Thanks for the support. Yeah, the thing is, it has been such a grind to go from 50,000 to 88k. I think it was almost 1.5 years. Yeah, so you know, I tried to get to 100,000 subscribers at least, and it was a grind, and it, you know, it affects you in a way when the growth is not that fast. But you know, I mean, it is what it is. I can't demand people, you know, to subscribe if they don't find the videos interesting. And I'm just not doing mainstream enough videos. It is what it is. I have to accept it. But I also have to be happy with what I create, so I'll rather create what I want to create and then hope people want to watch it, not the other way around. But yeah, it has been a grind, and it has been, again, it has contributed to my burnout a bit, I guess. But yeah, so that's what I mean with, if I had a bit more YouTube subscribers, everything would be a little bit easier. But again, I don't want to complain. It is what it is. Just have to work with what we have. It makes a lot of sense, and you were an educator, you explained stuff. Oh, okay. It makes a lot of sense that you are an educator or were an educator because your explanations are so helpful.
Nice to meet you.
That Nguyen, thank you so much for following. Thank you for making the great videos. Thanks a lot for the compliment. Yeah, it's always nice to hear that people enjoy the videos and they take something away from it. How about exploring some big art trends like typing more expressionist strokes, cubism, or trying more expression? Yeah. I mean, could do that, right? Sure, I could do that. I need to prepare a couple of miniatures and then just, you know, not think about it too much. Just grab one miniature and do something like that, where you're just doing expressionism on a miniature, and so that I just have something ready and not think too much about it, and just do a quick video and not, so that I have a couple of, you know, easier to make videos, I guess. Yeah, that could be an idea. I also want to paint. Do I have the brushes here? No. Games Workshop also sent me 1,000,000 synthetic brushes. I want to paint a Space Marine or something like that with the really giant brush that they sent, like the tank brush or something like that. That will definitely also be fun. Painting my boyfriend's nope squeak thing for October. Ah, gotcha. The caps. Oh, we had that. For me, I watch your videos regardless of the upfront content and see what I can lift from them and use. I say it like that because I'm not the best at picking things up. I might not like Space Marines, but I watch. Yeah, again, right, it doesn't matter so much what you're painting, and I feel like that's my... That scared me. She just jumped down and was starting to meow. So I'm kind of trying to use Space Marines as a vessel to teach more general things, and it's definitely possible, right? So if I did like a color theory video, I would probably just use Space Marines regardless, because I mean, it's a Space Marine and it's drawing eyes, but at the same time I'm teaching you color theory. So that's actually a thing that I try to do with my videos, where it doesn't, like you said, what doesn't matter what up front is on screen or in the thumbnail. I still try to incorporate something to teach or to take away, you know, for people to take away. Yeah, it's nice that you noticed that. Okay, so is this going to work? I'm not sure. Let's say hello to the camera. Dual view. Okay, she wants to sit on my lap, so let's see if that works. She usually jumps up and then she tries to sit on the arm rests. That usually does not work. But we'll see if she lies down. Can you lie down? Yeah, let's see. That might work. Okay. Yeah. No complaining. Yeah, now she's complaining. Now she's going to the armrest. Okay, take the armrest. Hey Dominic, Macklin, a good day from Austria. Wait, you're saying good day, and I'm expecting Australia, but it's Austria. Anyone else getting video auto desync? Okay, so is it? Am I behind? So wait, I'm going to clap, right? Am I behind, or is it? What's the opposite thing? I don't know. Do it again. I just want to clap too loud. Okay, so let me know, because I'm having the hardest time figuring out what to do with the camera. Let's see, I can try to get rid of this. Okay, is this any better? Is this better now? Let me clap again. Is this better? Because again, I don't know how it shows on screen. But I know that there's a delay, but I am having the hardest time to fix it. I'm up to designing very large toys. What are you designing, Space Toy? I'm painting an orc. Wait, Aurora Boys? I don't know what that is. Oh, warhammer 40k. Fantasy. Yeah, I gotta say I'm not super up to date with what's going on in fantasy, and I also don't know what has been going on. Because I always was more a 40k nerd. So let's see, maybe I shouldn't go in blind. I need 15, 14 and 13. Jesus Christ, this has become really complicated. Assembling figures or assembling Games Workshop miniatures has been really complicated. Okay, lately. And I also got, I can't say what I also got, but there's like a million things and a million parts that you have to assemble for that. But you know, having a million parts also means you have to clean a million parts. And everyone knows how much I like cleaning parts. Like, you know, getting rid of mold lines and stuff. Okay, say that again. 13, 14. Okay, so where's 14? I think that's it. My Discord doesn't seem to be linked. I can read, but no one seems to be able to see what I write. Yeah, so there's a channel that's called Welcome to the Server, and everything's described there, so you should be able to see that. So yeah, you need to go through that. I can't, you know, explain it on stream necessarily. Everyone will be falling asleep. But yeah, it's described there, point by point. Starting Deathwatch, Deathwatch would love to see a take. Yeah, so I'm going to do black armor on the black temples. You can just use it one to one for Deathwatch. Hitting my first bust at the moment. The larger scale brings more challenge than I thought. Yeah, on one hand it brings more challenges. On the other hand, it also brings a lot more possibilities. So it's a bit of a different style and different opportunities too. So I really like, you know, the larger scales, but I have not painted them as much as I wanted to. Okay, 16. Sorry for that. 16, 18, 16. 16. Oh yeah, let me know if the music is too loud. And again, if you're new or if you just tuned in, please don't forget to like the stream, because that's going to make YouTube recommend the stream to other people more. 18. Okay, that's 18. Almost there. 18, 17. Okay, that's just the backpack. See, they're all the same. So. Yeah, we're going to go through the feedback in a bit. Just want to see if there's, you know, any questions up front. Hey Frog. Hey Matthew Adams. On the final stretch painting my drop pod. Oh, okay. Only with a brush. It's been taking a while. Yeah, for base coating, I nowadays, and you know, when I'm painting bigger things, I just use the airbrush. It's no, how to say, no use torturing yourself. Okay, because I'm blind, I need the magnifying glasses, even for getting rid of mole lines. And where's my knife? I don't know. Interesting. Oh. Yeah, and everyone knows that, you know, even if it's just a quick paint job, I really need to. I need to get rid of mold lines, else I'm going crazy. Oh yeah, one thing, I think there might be a recess there, so where they did the ultramarine thing, so I might have to fill a tiny bit of a line there, but we'll see. So because I don't want to, you know, I want to do either freehand or a decal. Need to get rid of you. How would you use your technique when approaching painting black space marine? I love the texture grim. Yeah, so I'm going to make a video about it. The problem is that you can't go darker than black, right? When your armor is already black. How are you going darker? So you have to either do, yeah, a gray or a blue, really dark blue. I'm probably going to use a blue-gray, surprise. But you can't just start off with black because you can't go darker than black. So you can't darken black edges anymore. So you have to do that. But yeah, I'm going to do black Templars next. So another thing is that maybe I'm going to do two ways. Maybe I'm not going to directly do the same technique, or sorry, misspoke. I'm going to do the same technique, right, first, and then I'm going to show another technique where you can, or how you can do like something grim darkish. That's not necessarily the same technique, but that's also pretty effective. Hey Simone Thompson, finally I get to catch this live for a bit. I think I'll work on painting my hive tyrant for a diorama. Oh, from Discord, gotcha. Nice. But yeah, for people that are on Discord, you'll be able to see it afterwards. Tempted to throw my Reddit painting competition whip in the feedback, but I won't. Why? Because people are seeing it, or would be seeing it, and link it to you. Why do you hate purple? It's a good question. It's, I don't know, so why do I gravitate towards turquoise more, right? It's just more appealing to me. And I don't know, I like purple for shading things or adding color variation to things. I don't like it as a main color necessarily. But yeah, it's hard to explain why. It's not necessarily you know, because I find it a hard color to paint. It is a hard color to paint, but at the same time so is yellow, and so is any color, white, black. But if you know how to, it's not that difficult, right? So, I mean, I'm not dropping any knowledge bombs here. But yeah, it's just not appealing. I don't know. Can't really point my finger. What's the best pizza topping and why is it pineapple? Go away, you savage. Just wanted to say thank you for sharing your videos on YouTube. I hope you take your class soon. Thank you, Ryan Rogers. Not the best time to enter. What did I say? Or I'm already behind again. You could always use black or black metallic pigments and dry brush. Yeah, see the problem I have with dry brushing, I mean sure you could do that, right, if you wanted to do it super quick, but dry brushing is always going to look like dry brushing. I made, you know, 100 people turn off the stream now, but I'll try to explain. So the thing with dry brushing is, and that's a bit of a thing where that, you know, sometimes people watch my videos and they're like, no, this doesn't work for army painting, this takes too long and so on, but that's not always true. So if you could take maybe 10% longer or 15% longer on the paint job and it's looking like twice as good, would you do that? I think you would, right? Or at least I would. So not just doing the thing everyone does, as in, for example, just dry brush the way it has always been done. If you think of a bit of a different way how to apply paint, or you know, there is, you know, ways that take a tiny bit longer, maybe because you have to prepare your brush a bit different and you have to be a bit more controlled with the application, but at the end it looks just twice as good. Would you not do that? And I don't know how I got here, but oh yeah, dry brushing. Dry brushing is always going to look like dry brushing, and it's not necessarily a super appealing texture, and you will always have the small dots everywhere, and if you're not careful you're also going to hit the shadows, and then you have these typical dry brush dots in the shadows. And you know, there's other ways to be fast, take a tiny bit longer, but everything's looking twice as good, and I would definitely choose that. But people don't understand that. you know, a lot of people don't understand that, and they come in and they're like, nah, fuck this. And I'm like, okay, you don't want to learn it, and if you don't want your miniatures to look twice as good with a minimal time investment, that's okay. But you know, at the same time, there's a lot of people that want it, so. Just started 40k with Necrons, and I use your advice for shading with ray confession instead of Argt or shade. Looks great, thank you. You're welcome, Drew. Happy that you found, you know, a way that works for you. Hey Malev, thanks for the words concerning Instagram being a Reels app now. Much love. Thank you, Malev. How's it going? Yeah, I kinda, that was a bit of an accident. I mean, I told it to you, or described it to you, but since I had the footage already, I decided I might as well do like these tiny tutorials as a reel, and I never gained this many followers in a month. I think I gained, from yesterday to today, I gained 400 new Instagram followers. It's crazy, and it's just because of, you know, maybe the last 3 reels, but the last one is a bit with text too, so people might rewatch it because they want to read the text. So yeah, I guess Instagram wants to be TikTok now. Just started. Oh, we have that. We can say underneath the black sample armor there's an orc that found the cool armor. Yeah, I want to.
Nice to meet you.
I want to. I think he thinks. Wait, what did I want to say? I want to do a bit more of a kit bashing and conversion. You know, a video or something like that, and just have fun with this or with that. So that reminds me of that idea that I had, but the thing is, I'm not 100% sure, so I'm not super literate in the lore and all of that, and you know, maybe I don't know how to put it. So when you're playing, you know what weapon options there are, and things that are missing for your army where you have to convert something, so you can have this as your army centerpiece, or just, you know, being able to use it in games, or use the mechanics that the small one has in games. So I don't know what is interesting, right? I could just randomly throw something together that I like, but I would like to throw something together that also helps people, you know, or that gives people an idea of what they could do for something very popular. Because I don't want to, again, end up like 15,000 views on a random conversion video. And no one really gains anything from it. So that's a bit of a pickle I'm in with that. Is there a direct PayPal link for donation somewhere? I don't like the cuts. Yeah, I don't like the cuts either. Patreon has been really a pain, because I'm losing. So they have a really bad conversion rate from dollar to euro. I think the rate is like 0.86 right now. So for $1 you get 0.86 euros. So I'm losing like 14%, but they have an even worse conversion rate. So they have like a 0.79 or something like that. So I lose so much money going from the dollar to the euro, and they also take like huge cuts. So I tried thought about moving everything to my own website, but then obviously you lose patrons, and I don't know. It has been a headache. Wait, can you do like PayPal? I think I might have one. Oh yeah, I do. Not sure if it's going to show up, but that's my PayPal link. It's also on Twitch below my stream. Hey, why is the music over? Let's stop. Let's see. Let's see how this sounds. I just got a desk light glass. I'm thinking I should have got cyber goggles like the rest of you. Yeah, so I have a magnifying glass that's like this big, and it's been kind of okay, you know, when I paint, but I also do a lot of filming, so I can't really use it. So if you're like on your own and you're not streaming and just painting for yourself, I think they're okay. If it's comfortable for you, then you should go that route. This is just, you can just move your head a bit more freely and, you know, change positions. Sometimes I would paint like leaning back and just do this. So in that regard, I feel like the goggles are better. Grimdark Emperor's Children would be cool. Yeah, so that would be using purple.
How did you find me?
Thank you for the follow, Wells. The comment about cleaning parts hit home. I bought the Assault Intercessor after watching your Grimdark Blood Angel video, then spent 2 days assembling and cleaning the mold lines. Yeah, it's... I mean, the problem that I always have, and don't get me wrong, I'm not criticizing, but I mean, I talked to Midwinter Vinny's about it, right? Where he did the 20-hour investing, or where he invested 20 hours into a display piece. Where I was critiquing it, and then I said the mold line, and he did it again in the new video where he assembled the I don't know, the orc leader dude, and it's a cool video, and it's obviously a really great video because all he does is great videos. And I'm looking at it, and there's like a giant gap there, and all I can look at is the gap. And if I, you know, when I paint something and there's a gap in it, I need to stop painting and fill the gap. It's like I'm allergic to mold lines and gaps, and I certainly it's certainly not a healthy thing. I don't know, it's stressing me out. So if I didn't
First,
care,
I would like to just get to know you.
Drew Seidler, thanks a lot for becoming a YouTube member. Don't forget to link your Discord to the YouTube account here. Oh, hold on. Tschüss, danke. Ja, super. Vielen Dank. Okay, am I still here? Hello. Oh, that was in between the songs. Well, I messed up my... Yes, made it to a stream and the kids are out. Bye, kids. I think... Wait. He already did a video. Even metal. Wait. Oh yeah, sure. I did a Black Templar, but it's in a different style, right? So that was more display, clean, yeah, cleaner style. I'm going to try to do a bit more of a rougher Grimdark style with these, with the ones that I'm doing next. We are talking about why not to put in feedback. You're one of the judges. Oh, right. Yeah. True. I forgot about that. Black Templars are the only 40k army I've ever played. So for me, I thought about making a 40k Black Templar army. So that's the closest thing to an army I ever had. So for the videos, it would also be cool to...
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Luke Welton, thanks a lot for becoming a new patron. Thank you. Even for a year, thanks all. Thank you. You're very kind. Yes, so the problem I always have is this a problem? Well, I would like to do something that you could also play, not that I'm ever going to play, but if I made an army, it would have to be
How did you find me?
According to the rules. So, but I don't want to study the rules. I don't want to study how to make a 40k army or a Space Marine army because I don't play and I don't have the time. So it's something that's probably never going to happen, even though it would be nice to have a format like that for the channel where I just build an army with models that I find interesting. So I don't know, could name it If I Ever Built an Army, and then just build an army and never play it. But yeah, if anything, then, or Black Templars would be the army that I would use for that. In what scenarios do you use a smaller brush? From what I've come to understand, since good brushes all have a fine point, the larger brush is ideal for holding paint. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes for textures, certain textures like hair, or stippling, you know, when you really want to be meticulous. Riddick Hammerhand, thanks a lot for subscribing on Twitch. Thank you for the support. Yeah, don't forget that you also can link your Twitch account to the Discord and get access that way. Yeah, so those are the main things. Sometimes when you want to really get, you know, more detail, more precise detail, because the longer brushes, they will sometimes have a bit of a wobbly tip. So if you want a more, how to say, a stable tip, the shorter bristles help stabilizing the tip, and then you can put a dot right there, right? So for painting eyes, I guess, you know, when you do that last dot, it would help. So yeah, stuff like that. Sometimes, you know, I've just gotten so used to using the larger brush that I don't necessarily switch anymore, but I can totally see that you would maybe want to switch in those circumstances. When trying to adapt your grimdark to black, my friend used a dark silver for the base and built up through blue-gray to black as the final stipple color. See, I don't understand how that would work. So are you having the dark silver on the edges? Are you skipping the dark edges completely? I guess that could work, yeah. But that, I don't necessarily think that's the same style anymore. But again, it doesn't matter. I don't need, or I don't want you to do the exact thing I do. I want you to do exactly what your friend did. Take my idea and make it your own idea, and that's super great. So. Anyways, Games Workshop Assault Intercessors have red rimmed shoulder pads. I don't know about that. I guess it would depend. Oh, they're not sword brethren. I don't know about that. Sorry. Hildenreich. I don't speak Russian, Joey. Sorry. YouTube wants to be TikTok too. Exactly. Yes. Hey, Joey. Oh wait. Hi, all. Respect to your paint from Mother Russia. Thank you. Thanks for translating what you said. Could you not read it in dollar and correct it at your bank online? See, I need to get it from Patreon to my bank account, and in the process it becomes euros, so I have no choice. And in that conversion, and yeah, they use that conversion, that worse conversion rate for some reason. We have our currency option in our online bank. Oh, we track. Oh, I see. Maybe I can. Yeah, maybe I can get it to my bank account in dollars and then convert it there. Yeah, I need to look into that. That's a good idea. Thank you. Would always be worth considering, because after pitching you might move to another platform, and then that becomes lacking in a few years and so on. Doing it yourself sounds better profit-wise. Just more administration. Yeah, it wouldn't be that much administration. They would still process the payment and everything. So the only thing I'm kind of afraid of is, you know, losing like 50% of the patrons in the transition, and then I'll start, you know, from a crappy position again. Hey Vince, it's okay, we all love your attention to detail. Yeah, because no one else is suffering through it or because of it. How's it going, Vince? Hey, no skill. What am I up to? I'm up to, and that goes. Wait, I wanted to assemble it before I clean it, or at least put it together so that I can see how it looks. But yeah, I had a Space Marine prepared. I just don't really like the pose. I'm already thinking ahead for thumbnail purposes and stuff like that. I just like this one better. This one is a bit more dramatic, so I have to do that. You know, clean that one. Let's see, I might be able to put that on before, but yeah, let's do that. Good afternoon, someone without a username. I don't know who it is. Just looking for inspiration for my great white squig. Oh, how dare you! How dare you! How dare you! Yeah, like I said, Games Workshop sent me a lot of orcs, and I like orcs, but I didn't like the last 40k releases that they had. I didn't, you know, they were not. They just didn't click, or I didn't click with them. The only thing that I really would have liked to paint was the Great White one, and they even said they were going to send one. But they didn't. It got lost or whatever.
How did you find me?
Didn't send it, or it got lost. Dab 13,200. Sorry, that was a bit hard to read. Thanks a lot for the follow. Yeah, so I was pissed. So now I'm going to paint Black Temples instead. Good. So holy smokes, Helltron, I'm a big fan. I usually never get to catch live soon. Thank you, Brick. Thanks for the kind work.
Nice to meet you.
Can tune in. Yeah. So again, sorry, I'm not really painting, but cleaning instead. But hopefully you're here for, you know, the questions and answers and all of that. Yeah, thanks a lot for the kind words. If I may ask, I've gotten some drops of the wrong paint on top of my contrast paints. You mean like wait. I'm not sure what you mean. Like into the container? Got some drops of the wrong paint on top of my contrast paint. Oh, so you applied contrast paint and then you got paint on that, on the miniature? Yeah, that's a good question, how to fix that. I don't think... I mean, you could try scraping it away with a knife. it's like a surgical extraction. But honestly, I don't know. Maybe some solvent that dissolves paint, like what do people use to get rid of paint these days? I don't know, because I never did it. Hey John, how's it going? Get back to work. Wait, he's always working. He's working a 40-hour job and then he's working on YouTube videos. What do you mean?
How did you find me?
He never sleeps. Hey Fire Flurry. Why not just build a whole bunch of skirmish squads instead? Yeah, see, I wanted to do. It's kind of sad, right? I wanted to do kill team, but then what did they do with Space Marine kill teams? It's like they were so interesting. And what's that one guy called on YouTube that did kit bashing and conversions? Those were awesome videos and also great results, because you could kit bash something and convert something, and then you had a really unique kill team, and that's not possible anymore because you can only use like intercessors or you know, regular what's the regular name? Jesus Christ, I'm so bad with all of this stuff. So everything has to be the same type, every figure has to be the same type, and how boring is that? So that option kind of died for me. I might have even played Kill Team. Yeah. Hey Christian friends, let me ask. Oh wait, we have that. I sent €3.29, 92.29, yeah, to supposedly. Thanks a lot, Doomslayer. Austria has 0 taxes. No, I'm going to have to pay taxes on that. I'm sorry. But yeah, thanks a lot for the support. It should show up actually. Maybe it's not through the link. But yeah, thank you so much. He did lighter edges. They were worn back through layers of paints to bare metal edges, like a reverse adaptation of it. Yeah, exactly. That's good. That's nice. Yeah, Alexander K. Which primer did I use? Just regular Games Workshop primer. I need to, or I thought about using matte primer, some, I don't know, resin style or Vallejo or whatever, but I'm too lazy to get it. And then also, I'm not sure how, you know, how good it is on stream or on camera, because this is kind of glossy, so you see more details. Yeah, don't know. Let's see, let me go through chat and then maybe we will start with the feedback stuff. Bug hitters. Vincent John bug hitters. Mold lines give the models character. No, they don't. Get out. Will there be sculpting videos in the future? I explained that before. But yeah, before we start, guys, don't forget to give the video a like if you're watching on YouTube. It just helps with, you know, people discovering the channel, and you know, if a lot of people like a video, it gets recommended to others, and they might tune in, and so we might grow the community. Yeah, no, sculpting videos. I'm going to do another sculpt for my channel or for my line. So if you don't know, I have a miniature range too, because I do all the things right in miniature. In the miniature hobby, designing miniatures, sculpting miniatures, because it's just fun, right? But I don't have the time necessarily to do sculpting, but I'll do another sculpt for my range, and I'm going to document that and make a video about that. But no dedicated sculpting videos in the future, no. where I explain like techniques and stuff. I think my channel is not really, you know, in the beginning the first couple of thousand subscribers were subscribing for sculpting, but I think I lost all of them by now because we only did painting. And German pants and grain. Games Workshop send the org. Did it send you the bad NDA? So okay. I know I shouldn't be talking about that because people want to hate on Games Workshop, and Arch did an interesting video about it, and I'm saying that sarcastically. But that is so overblown, you know, that was just a video to be outraged. Because sure, of course they're going to do you know, some legal stuff so that you're not, but basically what they want you to do is they don't want you to show stuff before the deadline ends, before the NDA ends. That's just a natural thing. Of course, why would they want you to show that? And I'm not good at explaining that in English because it's my first language. But there's a difference between slander and criticizing, right? So you can criticize Games Workshop, and I have criticized Games Workshop where it was due, or you know, not just for the sake of farming clout and saying how bad Games Workshop is and so on. And don't get me wrong, they made a lot of weird decisions, and after all, they're a company, they want to earn money, and I don't necessarily agree with all of that because it, you know, it killed Golden Demons for a long time because they were not super profitable. And I don't necessarily agree with all the capitalistic stuff, but they're a company and all of that. And what else? I'm not prepared for this, right? So I'm trying to get a few talking points in. But yeah, I don't agree with everything, and I've been criticizing Games Workshop for their first 3D sculpts, like they were really bad, and I'm allowed to do that. And I can also say if they sent me this box, and I don't know if that's true, but I heard this box, right, this box here is going to be 125 pounds, and I think for the couple of miniatures that are in there, that's mighty overpriced. And I can say that, and it's ridiculous that people think you're going to make a video, you make 2 videos, right? The first one you're going to be like, oh look, Games Workshop, so awesome, this box is so nice and it's so cheap and blah blah blah. And then you're making a second video where you're saying, hey guys, actually it's overpriced. And I mean, you don't have the time to make 2 videos, and don't you think people will watch the first video and then they watch the second video and then they're going to ask, are you crazy? You know, what's going on in your brain? And again, there's a difference between slander and criticizing. So you're not supposed to slander the company that you're working with, but you can criticize. Guess what? I criticize them all the time. They still send me stuff. I even have to say that they sent me stuff. And obviously, whenever someone is, you know, working with a company on these terms where there's release schedules and you're getting stuff up front, there's an NDA involved.
Nice to meet you.
Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed? And it's not a, I don't know the word in English. You're not selling your soul. You're not, you know, forced to only say positive things. If you don't like the box, then say that you don't like the box. They will still send you things because you're still talking about it. And you know, even if you don't like the box, someone else might like the box because they're watching it. And if you get 50,000 views, do you think everyone's going to say, yeah, he's right, that's a stupid box? No, people will look at the box. I'm not even doing reviews, right? I'm not opening the boxes and like, this and that, yeah, okay, Those are the most boring videos to make. I would never make a video like that unless I had like an idea that would make it interesting. I just paint the miniatures because I really like the miniatures. They have really improved their miniatures lately. They have, yeah, given them more character and more detail. The detail is going, you know, is getting better and better, and they also have everything I criticized. There's a really bad video I made ages ago where everything's super clunky, and nowadays everything's becoming more finely detailed and interesting, and as a painter I just love that, right? So I forgot where I was going, but that's my take on all of that. So don't, you know, don't. Outrage is a really big driver of views, so people will make outrage videos whenever they can about everything if they decide to go down that route for the views. So don't believe everything, every outrage. Most of it is overblown. I don't like, you know, videos like that. It's just, why all the negativity? It's just for views. There's maybe a hint of, you know, I don't know, I don't even think there's a hint of, or just a tiny bit of truth to it. There's no truth to overblowing it. I'm really bad with explaining this, sorry, I should have prepared more thoughts on this. A newbie question, but can you put combi boulders on tactical marines as if they're normal? Oh my god. Can someone answer this guy? I can't. You can put combi bolters on tactical marines as if they are normal bolt guns, correct? I don't know, sorry. I'm head out, need to go and tuck in some carnizadas. What is that? Have a good one. ISO is good for removing paint. Oh, isopropyl. Jesus Christ. ISO.
How did you find me?
Alcohol. Just some ice and a cotton bud. There you go. First time 9 in your live stream. Thank you, FSU. Was it Pete the Wargamer? I think so. Yes. His kill teams, they are really great, and he's also a really good painter. So he has the whole thing, you know, getting better and getting faster at the same time. He has that down. Hold on. Sorry, there was a delivery and I thought my girlfriend was upstairs, but she wasn't. Probably Pete the Wargamer, yeah, exactly. Was about to ask why it matters that they changed Space Marines for Kill Team if you never play anyways. Yeah, I thought about playing Kill Team with Space Marines, but boohoo. Still have a Kill Team squad in box from the last edition, not even built yet and it's already illegal. Yeah, exactly. When are you going to start 3D printing? Think of all the kit bashing options. Yeah, so I'm in talks with a company. They're going to send me a printer, the one with that can print 30 microns instead of 50, because as you know, I don't like mold lines. And I have a problem with printer lines too. So I was waiting for that, and it's actually been a while. They probably should have sent it to me already, and they haven't yet, so I need to ask. But yeah, another problem is, I think I solved that problem, but I can't really. I don't have doors down here to the basement. Unlike other Austrian basement dwellers, I don't have any doors here. so the cats would be in contact with the resin potentially. But we have a room, like there's another room over there that was a different purpose, and I built a rack there where I can put a 3D printer. So, and there's a door to that room, so I can print without making the cats or putting the cats in danger. But yeah, I don't need more models, I already have too many. Killing a tactical marines kill team with rogue trader twist, yeah, that would be interesting. Oh, actually, yeah, I could do that. I mean, they would still be all the same models, but that way they would still be interesting. Just individualize them could be a thing, yeah. Will we paint any of the more grimdark sisters of battle? I don't think so, no. No, probably not. Won't necessarily have the time anytime soon. Using your Blood Bowl Orc tutorial to paint Beast Snaggers. You, sir, are a high visitor of painting. Thank you, McDanger. Also consider this, now you just need 5 marines for a kill instead of 10. Yeah, again, I'll look into it again and decide on that. Adding mold-line proxies and all my resin images is hard work. I use the credit card exchange rate. I usually see that on my invoice a couple days later when the card company processes it. Sorry if that causes a bunch of delay on your... Oh, don't worry. I mean, that's fine. Thank you again. You could do green stuff conversion sculpting rather than whole models. It'd be interesting. I'd be interested in seeing you build sculpts to make them your own. Yeah, so that was the idea, right, behind building a kill team and individualizing the models. We'll see, maybe in the future. I need to get a few more things on the road that I still haven't managed to do because we're away so much. Before I can streamline the process of making videos again and do more videos again. It has also been really hard to get back into the creative groove after coming back from the holidays. It's weird. Positive or negative, it's all exposure for Games Workshop. Everyone can have their opinion. Yeah, sure. But I'm just saying certain people have overblown that topic so much. Hey, B-Chromatic. The whole point of an NDA is to stop someone disclosing something, and the easiest way to do that is to make it financially unviable. Yeah, so again, I would have to read everything again, but of course they don't want you, so they send you something, so they cannot just trust you that you do what they would like you to do, as in not disclose, you know, that you got something when they have a release schedule and they want pictures out before that. So there has to be some legal security there in case someone does stuff like that. Outrage and outrage face thumbnail, exactly. That's what someone on the NDA would say. Yeah, right. See again. Yeah. If I didn't have, you know, that option of them sending me stuff, I would still make videos, and I would just use old Space Marines and do a Black Templar, and of course it's going to be better that I have the new models, right? But if I didn't, then I'd just do it differently. So, I mean, of course I'm going to do that because I gain probably a few more viewers because it's the new models. It doesn't mean that I sold my soul or anything. It's ridiculous. I've seen a lot of NDAs as a web dev, and Games Workshops is pretty standard. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying, Napster, right? See Games Workshop already knocking at the door. IRL kill team swatted. Shut down the heresy. You guys are funny. What is the stream? Did you dissect that toy soldier? Yeah, sorry, we got carried away with talking. It's called assembly. It's the exact opposite thing of disassembly, right? But yeah, I wanted to start with this one, but then I decided I don't like the pose. I don't know, I'm weird like that. Sorry guys. So I decided to assemble another one where I actually really like the sculpt, and I'm super, so I can't paint things that I don't enjoy looking at aesthetically, where the pose is kind of I'm weird, I'm sorry. Paint alongs, removing mold lines. Yeah, remove along, right? Hey Juan, how's it going? Be careful with the toxic resin, exactly. 3D printing is such a massive time suck. Yeah, that's how I have not gotten into it, right? You need to get all the things right, have it set up correctly, and then do all the supports, and yeah, we'll see. But the thing is, I would probably like to print the odd I mean, there's base materials that I want to print to build dioramas. For example, a Creek diorama that I want to do. I thought about printing a few things there. It's just going to make, you know, accessories more available. I can do more creative stuff with it. I'm not necessarily, there's a fly here, going to print home niches all the time, but the surroundings. 20 minutes delay, yeah, I have brain delay, I'm sorry. Have you painted white scars? I have not, but I want to. So again, what I really want to do is do 10 videos about Space Marines because I just like them so much. But I don't know if people, you know, people maybe riot. His lifeless chat reading skills aren't that great, or he scrolled up. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Yikes. No, I'm not reading YouTube chat. I read it out, right? I have everything on my screen in an order that it's sent. I'm just way behind on everything on both chats. Print lines, I have offers from a few local people wanting monster-sized Warhammer commissions, and I keep having to tell them the costs will be inflated due to sanding and surfacing costs. See, the thing is, some people don't care about that stuff at all. I don't understand, but it is, you know, fair, right? So some people don't care about that at all, and that's fine. So maybe, you know, they don't care. So maybe, you know, just do it and don't sand it down. A decent primer will fill and smooth out small print lines. Yeah, to a point, I agree. If the mold lines aren't too big, here you can't do that. Maximum support. Thank you, Be Chromatic. That's the spirit. Have both streams open. Yeah, there's always more viewers on YouTube.
How did you find me?
It's just the way. Ultra Dreadnought, thank you. That, yeah, so I'm not big on Twitch, right? I have like 4,000 followers, and I have a few more on YouTube. He's behind the same amount of both, exactly. Twitch needs a kick in the ass to help out small streamers. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, right? Just their company, they want to earn money, blah blah blah. It's probably not feasible for them or not profitable. But yeah, so I'm going to where I have more audience. Thank you, Ultra Dreadnought, for gifting us up. Thank you, thank you. Yeah. I wish I had more viewers on Twitch, but I don't. So, yeah. Where's this magic room with the chat? I must belong there. Wait, what? Hey, I accept. Sellout hobby millionaire. Twitch is far superior. I wish I was a millionaire. Everyone has the source code. Yeah, thanks for the leak. Anyone else not 100% sold on monopose models? Yeah, I'm not 100% sold on monopose models, but I'll be honest, or how to say that. There is some poses that would not be possible with switchable, or how would you call it? With kits where you could repose everything by default. Yeah, so to me it's yeah, personally I'm torn a bit on the topic. I like these more dramatic poses, and you could not do that. You know, you would still have to cut a leg and reposition it. You know, they won't come with all joints posable. So there's pros and cons to it. In my opinion, you get more dynamic things with the monopose stuff, more dynamic poses. But at the same time, you lose customizability. Yeah, it is what it is, I think. Loved the videos, learned a lot, and got back into the hobby. Thank you, Overlook. That's good to hear. Happy that you're back in the hobby. I want to paint some Freeman-inspired or Fremen-inspired gene silicals. Any tips on making a gray-brown scheme interesting? So questions like that are always super hard because I don't have, you know, magic.
Finally caught you on Twitch.
Oh, geez. Finally caught you on Twitch. Thank you, Clockwork Cupcakes. Thanks a lot for resubscribing. So what does interesting mean? Something that's interesting to you might not be interesting to someone else. So, and there's no cookie cutter solutions for any color combination. Gray-brown scheme. So I mean, what are you going to paint gray and what are you going to paint brown? And you know, that would also influence what you can do with it. So if you're doing the skin gray, that would be probably different. You would use different textures than on the clothing. And you know, just using general things like contrast and complementary colors. Maybe on top of the orange you could put some blue, or not on top but in combination. Contrasts, any type of contrast. This is out of left field. Have you thought about doing a painting texture compilation, like painting thick heavy skin texture, elephant hide, painting scales? Not really. I have reasons for that, but that would be going too deep. Hey Warham, I'm pretty new to Warhammer and recently got the color Eshing Gray, and it's very watery without me thinning down. Have you shaken it? Did you shake it properly? Eshing Gray, what is that even? I don't know which company. Contrary to believe, I don't know every color by heart. I play Necromunda, and the lack of diversity and the ability to model them is a little annoying. I get that, yeah, totally get it. Have you ever encased the miniature in transparent resin to add spell effects? I have not. So, how to say that? I enjoy the painting aspect of this. I don't necessarily enjoy all the other things around it. So, you know, some people like snow bases and, you know, doing stuff with resin, and I just like to paint. I don't necessarily enjoy all the other things, and I don't necessarily enjoy working with resin. But yeah, I mean, I have the UV resin. I have a UV resin. I'm going to play around with that a bit. But the 2 components resin, I don't like that. I just don't work like the work process, the workflow. I don't know if you have before, so I apologize, but I'd love to see a video on how you begin to plan and gather materials for a diorama. Yeah, I have one of that. I have that video in the making. It's gonna take a while. In general, just get everything you can. So start with web pages to get some idea, and usually a lot of the stuff that is sold there you can just find in your backyard or in the woods. Try finding different, not flock, but different like tree bark, different textures. Try to find ways to make different textures, different sized earth and grain sizes and stuff like that, and filaments, any filament, whether or not it's synthetic or natural, is going to help. Just, yeah, keep your eyes open and just collect everything you can. Yeah, also plaster, just try pouring a bit of plaster and break it up, or cut different shapes. You know, there's small bricks to buy. Just experiment with laying bricks, literally. Just build a house on the base. No, but like a small bridge part. Just build an arch out of bricks and experiment with those things. Just do what a child would do, right? Basically. I want to be able to put whatever weapon I want. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's gonna be tricky, but so you could just cut off this arm here and put another weapon. Yeah, that used to be better with the old models, where you had, you know, this arm and then there was nothing here, and then you could just pick and choose. So I have a couple of the old sprues there where there's weapon options on there. That was better, yeah, indeed. Any chance you'll do a Grimdark Black tutorial? Yes, very soon. Very soon. Any chance for a Grimdark Black video? Oh wait, that's you again, Sidlik. Yep. I have to remove all mold lines. It's an obsession, exactly. A lot of them are still quite easy to weapon swap. I'd say so too. Any interested in new Krieg models? Yeah, I have them back there. And I'm going to do a diorama. I want to do too many videos. Too many videos, not enough time. It's hard to paint the face over print lines. Okay, yeah, I get it. Again, I get it. Love to see you taking white scars. Though you could wait for the supplement release. Yeah, that's probably what I'm going to do. And your follow notification for Twitch is misspelled. Oh, Jesus Christ. Damn. Well, screwed that up. Have you considered painting Legion of the Damned? No. Oh, yeah, I was wrong. Yeah. I mean, sure, but I'm probably not going to do it anytime soon. I'm going to try to follow you over at Mirrodon soon. Yeah, I thought about finishing that, but then again, the videos didn't do that well, so that contradicts what I said before, where I would like to do more things that would also get views. How much pound would I need to throw at you to paint some 28mm Necromunda models? So I don't know, I don't do commissions, so maybe £1 million. What's on the wish list? I don't have a wish list right now. Basically, everything I would like to get, and that's mostly Black Templars, Games Workshop already sent me. So I'm quite lucky in that regard. Other than that, So yeah, I would like to work on my own sculpts again, but that's not an option right now. So instead, I'll work on a couple of Space Marines. Just noticed I misspelled misspell. Only a million? How about 1.5 million to make it more palatable? Yeah, that would be good. No, but I don't do commissions. I just can't do the commissions. I started 2 commissions and every time I send them back because I don't know, it's weird. My brain doesn't work like that. I'm personally excited for Black Temples, or is it more because you think the wits will do well? No, personally, I don't know if I still have the molds, but Black Templars were, so, you know, Templars, the concept of Templars, the way that, you know, there were Crusaders in the past. And not that I'm super fond of the concept of crusading, but it's just, a crusade is just so absurd and offers so much potential for storytelling, right? In that regard, I find it interesting, not the concept itself. Because, you know, if we found constant war good, or we're not painting Space Marines because we like the concept of constant war, but we like the storytelling aspect of it. No one would like to be there, but it has the potential to create interesting stories. And the Black Templars, I just feel, you know, Crusaders with shields and stuff like that. That was always interesting to me. Yeah. And I just like the cross pattern too. We'll do it for Mars Bar. Oh, I'll do it for Mars Bar. Yeah, it's just the thing. I don't do commissions, so, you know, it's hard to say what for what amount of money I would do a commission. I just don't want to do commissions. Okay, if you could give advice to your younger self, would you still pursue expressing your creative energy in miniature painting, or pick another creative outlet? No, probably not, because you could be a painter, like paint pictures, and no one would recognize you, or not that I'm after the fame. But I could have not made it a living the way I can live off of miniature painting and making videos. I don't think necessarily you could do that as a painter. So you need like to know the right people to get into galleries and stuff like that. So I don't know. I mean, sculpting. Yeah, maybe I would. So if I could just do something without having to worry about money, I'd probably do more sculpting and maybe even like bigger scales. So maybe that's the only thing I would change. But you know, ideally I'd have enough time to also sculpt, but you know, making the videos takes up most time. So I enjoy the very limited time I have to paint, where I'm not editing videos and making PDFs and all of that. If I win 174 million, 1.5 is a drop. Yeah, I do hope you win.
Nice to meet you.
Is Blood Angel's PDF in your newest plans? Yeah, I have the old Blood Angel that I painted. I have a half-finished PDF. I need to finish that. I'm doing too many things at once. And then I'm also going to do a new one for the. I'm also going to do a PDF for the new one. Let's put it that way. Just when. But yeah, I'll try to pick up some slack and get all the content out that I was working on at the same time, and I'm really not good with finishing one project after the other. Have you ever used your logo on a shoulder pad? No, I could do that once, yeah. Just gonna do like a synthwave Space Marine and just paint my logo on it. Could do that. Sorry. If you could... Oh wait, we have that. You did commission sculpts. That's a bit different because I can get a copy of that. So I can sell the original, and I always ask for a copy. Or yeah, 2 copies, right? So that I have one that I can assemble and clean and put on a plinth. I have all the sculpts that I sold on a plinth in gray, and then some of them are also painted. Because again, that way I can have what I created, so a lot of people can enjoy that because they also can paint it. I got paid for it, and then on top of that I have a copy or 2 copies that I can, you know, be creative with, and that I just have there to look at. Something different. Is the logo a take on that David Duchovny sci-fi movie? Yeah, originally I copied that like 1-to-1. That was like 20 years ago, because back then I was just, you know, trying to find something interesting as a logo. And yeah, so I tried to change it around now, because I can just copy something 1-to-1, right? But the 3-eyed smiley was just, you know, a representation for being a little crazy. And I know my online personality doesn't necessarily reflect that, but I am a little crazy, so. Hey Navarra, how's it going? Happy to see you. Speaking about 20 years ago. Biggest scales continue. Yeah, so just working with your hands, where you can sculpt with your hands, and not just only having to use tools. That's really interesting. Have you considered sculpting a bust line? Yeah, if you go to Trovarian.com, you can see my bust line. I just can't invest a lot of time into a Kickstarter. It's impossible, right? So maybe I'll try to build up more releases again. I always thought the logo was inspired by the movie Evolution. Yeah, that's the David Duchovny movie he was talking about. You have any tips for me painting wise? I've been painting for 3 years and I feel as I've hit a wall and I don't know how to get past it. I mean, without knowing exactly where your plateau is, what you have to do is paint something and then take a step back and look at it and see and vocalize or write down what exactly you do not like about it, and then making that distinct steps. So, you know, if you don't like your color combinations, make that one point and then deliberately try to fix that. Try to find other color combinations, read up on color combinations, what works and how you can alternate saturation and value and all of that, and how that changes how 2 colors behave together would be an example, right? And then try to apply these themes and everything you learned to your next paint jobs, and don't try to fix everything at once. Right, another example could be my blends are not smooth enough. Try to find out why that is. Are you using too much white, or are you using or holding the brush in a way that it makes it impossible to get smooth blends? And yeah, try to tackle the things one by one. 20 years indeed. Would love to see that crazy side more. Yeah, I mean, a lot of that stuff doesn't necessarily work on camera, right? And it's another thing is the language. English is not my first language, so it's kind of hard to be funny in English the way I am funny in German. See, it's also, yeah, I don't know, my humor also, it works in a classroom, for example, but it doesn't necessarily work in a video. And yeah, it is what it is. Also, when I'm recording a video, I'm like super focused on trying to get everything across that I want to get across. and then also I need to remember the words, and so there's no brain capacity left. Okay, I'm gonna start on the feedback stuff. So I'm going to answer the last few questions. We're getting a synthwave marine tutorial or a grim dark synthwave tutorial because they go together. Yeah, they do. I tried to paint Elder Harlequins. I've not, no, but I mean, I like the combination of a rather dark, you know, theme with bright colors. Okay. So let's see. I noticed in several of your videos the same audio line plays twice in a row. It's not on purpose, but like twice in a row with 2 songs in between. That might be intentional. Yeah, there's only so much music out there, and it takes time to find new music. So I'm just one person, right? Not everything can be perfect. Okay, need to switch scenes. Screen cap right. Okay, here we go. Oh, your voice lines. Yeah, sometimes, I mean, I spend hours and hours on editing, and I try to get everything perfect, and then I don't feel like listening to it once again, and so sometimes I miss a voice line. I mean, again, nobody's perfect. It's not like I'm making it on purpose, right? So I would be an idiot if I did that, but sometimes it just happens. Okay, and I heard it said the opposite sides of color wheel is good, so that's a problem, right? What does it mean? Does it mean good? A complementary contrast where you're using opposite colors on the color wheel is an interesting contrast because it's visually interesting, and there's more to that. You have to use like one color more sparingly or not as much as the other color, you know, but you can read up on complementary contrasts in art. Unfortunately, I mean, it's not a super easy answer as always. Do you have time to play any Diablo 2 Remastered yet? I've played a little. My Sorcerers is level 75, I think. But I can't do it too much because then I get addicted again. And that would not be good. Okay, let's start. So, okay, that's a bit of the picture is not that good. Okay, gotta be honest about that. Also it would be good to take one figure and put it, so you can use that background kinda, right? Something that would be better would be putting a piece of paper where you have that here, that edge, so that it's round and you don't distract the camera with detail in the back and it doesn't know where to focus. In general, it's not going to happen that a camera can focus all of this, right? So the focus is kind of here, I guess. And then the 2 in the front, the row in the front and the row in the back are outside of focus. So a picture like that I can't really work with. I can, from the small detail that from the things that I can see, I think you're on a pretty good way, because you know the volumetrics here look nice. You have color combinations, as in, you know, additional color added, like with the red, and I also like the brown, blue and greens, blue and green interaction. It's a nice variation of a skin tone. And yeah, so again, looking at the details, I think, you know, if you used or I'm assuming you used my tutorial as a base, and you did really well from what I can see. Again, unfortunately, I can't really say much else. I'm trying to find, you know, things. but it's really hard to tell, unfortunately, from the picture. So yeah, as a general thing, if you want to enter something for feedback, try to not make it a group picture. Try to do a single figure, and you know, you can do like 2 or 3 pictures. And maybe it's not a good idea to take a picture of this one and then this one and then this one. That's, you know, basically the same figure. But you know, you could take a picture of this one and then this one and then maybe that one back, or maybe this one, and then we can talk about it. But yeah, I mean, again, it looks really solid from what I can see. Okay, Napoleon, let's see, I want to make them bigger. Okay, let's do this. Also, would you like music while I do this, or do it like without music? Which one's better? Level 75 played a little. I mean, that was like 2 days worth playing, right? If you know how to farm. And I played Diablo 2 a lot in the past, so I think I leveled through the game in like 5 hours or something like that. Not leveled, but played through it. For the sorcerers, it's pretty easy too. Just dropped in to say you love your videos, and I'm learning a lot. Only been painting a month. Thank you, Iron Man. Yeah, here's to a lot more months, many more months. I love Blood Bowl. Yeah, I love the figures. There's a lot of really great figures in the Blood Bowl range, like the Tree Man and the no, dwarves. What are they called? I don't know. Anyway, let's continue with this. No music. Without music, it's distracting. Okay. Hi from Spain. Big fan. Thank you, Iron Pie. Thank you. Okay, so let's see how to make. So things I like is the green and the reds. So the green is nicely highlighted. So the highlight color you chose works pretty good. The reds are also nice because they don't go too much into pink. So you went for shading the reds a bit more, then instead of highlighting. This is good. The white is also nice. Only the very, you know, the parts that would catch a lot of light are going too white towards white. But there's also a hint of yellow in there, so you have the luminosity of yeah, real life light. Also chosen the green, I guess. So that's nice. The black, I think the black can be improved. How could you improve the black? Maybe do the exact thing, same thing. Try making the shadows a bit more black. And I know that's not necessarily, how would you call it, a thing that historical painters do. Historical painters and painters in general usually like more matte paints, but I would try to find, so either you have a bit too much gray in there, or your paint is not glossy enough. So I'm not recommending going full gloss, but just satin to work over these areas and make them a bit darker. The reason why I say that is I feel like the contrast is higher on all of the other parts, so you need to work on the contrast of the black, I would say, personally. And I would rather make it darker than going any brighter, because as we can see here, it's not necessarily bad, it's just we can see a few imperfections here in the gradients, right? I'd also try to get the luminosity that you have on the face into this part, just the back of the hand, make it just a tiny bit more bright, because if you compare, sure, it's different materials, right, but skin is really reflective too. So this is really bright here, and I would like to see just a tiny bit of brightness here too. Yeah, black is kind of hard to do, right? But I mean, you did do a good job. Just a tiny bit more black in there, maybe. I don't know, how would you call that? Let's see if we can find. Spelling E. Yeah, so I mean, this is not necessarily exactly what we're looking at, but having, you know, these blacker areas will just make it look more interesting. And then another thing that I also wanted to add, you can definitely try. So of course Napoleon is not going to have an old hat, but I just find it a lot more interesting if there's hints of maybe brown or purple or something like that in there, so that you could add that, you know, maybe a bit of purple, just to have more variation. But then again, we're talking historical busts, so you would have to decide if you want to do that. No music also lets people choose their own background music too. I don't know, I don't want to talk politics, but yeah, he's not going to, I don't think he's going to have any problems. Some other people are going to jail, probably, but I don't think they can link it to him. Okay, that's the plan. I'm Australian. It's 2 AM here. How can I show you some of my paint jobs for advice? I plan to join your Patreon to get more advice. Yeah, if you join the Patreon, you can go to, you have access to the Discord, and then there's this channel, Gallery for Feedback, and we're going through that right now. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do in the future, just going through it in the live stream and then giving advice. Okay, so okay, yeah, so that's a bit of a thing, right? When people send you a picture and they're asking for feedback, so, you know, like I said, I get like 12 requests per day on Instagram to give feedback. It's not a thing that is easily done. It's like I have to look at the miniature and I have to analyze, okay, what is this person able to do, and where does it make sense to give advice, and what might be advice that is not achievable at the moment. So I don't want to, you know, give some advice that can never be reached. So I have to analyze the standard, and, you know, maybe are the gradients, on what level are the gradients. Then on top of that, I don't even know if they wanted to do smooth gradients. All of these things they take a lot of time to analyze, and it's also pretty exhausting, right? So because you have to think a lot. And it becomes a teaching moment, and teaching usually has to be deliberate, with an intention to reach the next step that's possible for this learner in front of you. So people are sometimes, I always have to tell people on, you know, that send me private messages that it's impossible for me to do feedback like that, because that's not how it works. It's not a 1 minute thing. It usually takes time. But yeah, here, one thing, so one thing I'm not super happy with, so I like the effect that you have here with the glow on the inside. Again, the sword almost looks like it's glowing. The parts that are reflecting the OSL need a bit of work. So you need all of these in between areas that you have here on these reflecting parts too. So the whole shape would probably be a lot more blue, more like a blue, a really dark blue like this over here. And then gradually you would have to build the gradient on all of the volumes, right? So OSL is not an easy thing, contrary to belief. So you would also have that over here. So right now everything's the same color here, but you would have to do at least a tiny bit of a change, just like you have a reflection here. You would also have a reflection here because of this light source. So you have the more global light source coming from above, and then you also need that here. But OSL again is really, really difficult. And also here, so the problem is that you're a bit inconsistent with your highlights. So you have the reflecting highlights here, but then they stop here. So you would have to go back in and evaluate all of your shapes once again and see where they would reflect on this slide. So that's the main problem with this figure, right? Is that it does not work 100% as far as the composition goes. And it's always a good thing. I always recommend people, if they have an idea about composition, don't worry too much about blending everything smooth, but do the composition first, and then you can always work on the details. Because if the composition works, if you can believably say, or if you convince me looking at this, that the light is in a place that's credible, that's gonna lift up the paint job a lot. While if I'm looking at it and I'm not understanding what I'm looking at, that makes my brain hurt and I don't want to look at it. So oh yeah, one more thing that I want to say: when I give feedback, I want to be honest. I'm not trying to put people down, and I'm also going to mention what's good, but I'm going to be honest and I'm going to say what doesn't work. It's not about putting people down. It's about making people notice what can be improved and what is their next step for improving. And we have to be honest, and we don't need to sugarcoat things, right? A lot of streamers go over something and say, oh wow, that's a nice paint job. I love the OSL you did there. Nice reflection, blah, blah, blah. But that does not help anyone. So I'm sure it's a bit of a stroke of ego, but it doesn't make sense to just do that, right? So just a bit of a disclaimer. Yeah, so a color combination I like, I would say. So those purples going over turquoise towards the blue. So the palette is nice. I would just say, again, work a bit on the composition. So work on where the OSL would be visible. Yeah, that would be my advice. Let's see. Got the notebook out. Interesting approach to that sword. The glow line is straight as an arrow and really feels alive. Yeah, exactly. That looks really good, right? I love how chat went quiet because the teacher is talking. Yeah, exactly. We're here to learn. I can't speak for everyone, but I appreciate the feedback. The real feedback. This one isn't mine. Yeah, again, I know that people value it, right? I'm just putting it out as a disclaimer. Okay, another model that I saw that I really liked, because I feel like here what we just went over is, oh, okay, that's not that. I don't know why sometimes these pictures are so tiny. Maybe Discord blows it up. Can I make this bigger? No, unfortunately we're stuck with this. But yeah, here I feel like, you know, what we just went over is realized, as in, sure, this is a busy model because it has 3. Let's see, can we? Let's do real color wheel. This is what I'm looking for. great. Okay, so we have yellow that's here, we have blue that's here, and we have purple that's over here. So there's a triad. We talked about complementary contrasts. If you just did a complementary contrast of, you know, yellow and blue, for example, you would have to make most parts blue. So this part blue too. And then just have maybe the shoulder pad and some details here be blue, and it would work better. Not better, but it would work. And here we have a lot of equal parts of blue, of purple, of yellow, but it still works because at this point it's a triad, and at that point you can balance it out a bit more. So you can do more as equal parts of both colors or all three colors, and it would still work. So the other thing is the brown is a variation of yellow, so that goes with it. If they added maybe a green for the hair, it would be a different story. So composition wise, I feel like it works really good. I think, you know, if stuff to improve would probably be more technical things, like learning how to paint more contrast a bit more smoothly. So maybe you could have done like one more highlight here, right? So make everything a bit brighter. That would help with readability. So also maybe an edge highlight here, or defining this shape a bit more with a highlight. Of course, you could say everything should be muted because you wanted also the light here, but yeah, no, I think that's fine. Yeah. So because you have a light here, I would probably say you should have, I don't know, no, maybe it's, no, but yeah. So what could be improved? Again, I feel like the composition works, so just minor things like maybe edge highlights and readability things, just bringing out a bit more contrast in a few elements. But yeah, again, I like it. I like everything. It's kind of nitpicking, right? Okay, yeah, and sometimes I will just say, okay, no, I really like that, and I don't necessarily have anything to say how to improve it, because it doesn't make sense to just nitpick if something is really well composed. And you know, I'm not perfect too, so sometimes I might miss things. Nightbot, pay attention. Yeah, Nightbot is a bit outdated. I should probably submit some of my stuff. Maybe get stuck at the moment. Yeah, sure. Just added my submission. I'll get to it. Well, we'll see. I'm working upward, so it's a bit. We'll see if I can get to it this time. If not, then we're going to do it next time. The problem with that mini is the weird hairstyle. Basket the mini. Paint job is amazing. Yeah, sure. Okay, so I don't know how far you are with the. Who's that? I don't know if you're here. Don't know how far you are with the black hair. So I like everything. I can't say much about, you know, to improve about most things. So maybe one thing, because you go really bright with the face, and you go really bright with some of these parts. So, you know, sometimes you will go really bright with the face so that it's drawing attention first. But I feel like since you also went really bright here, that was not necessarily the intention. So personally, I would have tried to go a bit brighter on a few other elements of the skin too. So So you have this volume be really bright. One problem is that you probably have to bring most of this part, for example, and the shoulders and everything you want brighter up a bit brighter. So these dark shades, these dark lines would probably have to be brighter too, to bring everything else up more towards this. It's also not easy to figure out the light sources people are taking into consideration sometimes, so you know, but I'm guessing since the light is kind of coming from above, from front here, because there's a really huge shadow here, I think this could catch more light, right, than you would have a shadow here, just like here, and then you would still have a bit of light running down here. Yeah, other than that, I like it. I'm not sure if this is just black. It almost looks like you could technically put another color into the shadow. So the classic thing is red. I'm not necessarily saying everything that's green should be shaded with red, but having a hint of brownish red in here could look interesting. You know, obviously you don't have to do that. Just saying what comes to mind. And yeah, so with the black hair, again, I don't know how far you are. I can't believe how easy the process was to sign up to get on Discord and post a photo. Yeah, exactly. It's not that difficult. Yeah, just one thing for the hairstyle, because again, it could just be work in progress. So hair is usually a bit of a tricky thing. Let's see. So hair is not necessarily that exciting to paint. Only in like studio paint shops. So this is a natural hair, right? So this is natural hair. It's not super exciting. There's a bit of a highlight here, more like a global highlight. We need to take that into consideration, or paint it a bit like this, and then the rest of the hair has just a few highlights, barely any highlights. Only in studio and super intense light situations, right? Like here, she probably has like a light from the front. Let's see. You get these really intense reflection lines, but we have to make up our mind for miniature painting, what we want to do, how we want to interpret what is in front of us, and it's perfectly fine to make really bright reflection. However, I would try to just do a reflection like this, right? So a really bright reflection on, okay, where are we? Maybe this part of the hair, and then maybe back here. So wherever you have like an apex of a sphere or a cylinder, and make that really bright, and just make the rest of the hair rather unspectacular. One thing I would also try to do is get the luminosity, the slight yellowish tint that you have in there, also into the hair. But yeah, and then maybe some apex point highlights, but I would also almost let this part of the hair fade into the background to leave the focus here. Then another thing, again, you could try purples or stuff like that in the, probably purples, maybe purples, to have a bit more of an interesting color, because black, just highlighting black with white is maybe a bit boring, just because of how gray, because of how we perceive gray. Okay, a bit of a tricky photo again. Would have been better to post them one by one. Also, it's a bit underexposed, so more light from the front for next time. So I have a video on how to take pictures whenever you want to post something up. Make sure to look at that. So yeah, I mean, you try to work with my Necron tutorial, and I like the overall feel. It's slightly different in color from what I did. It's a bit more whitish, while mine is beige. I like that. I also like the usage of pigments here. Yeah, not much I have to criticize, right? If you follow my tutorials, usually you kind of know if it went right or if it didn't. Yeah, I like the slight twist that you gave it with your own color choices. Okay, next one, we have an orc. I'm just trying to find a picture. I'm not going to go through every picture unless it's like showing, you know, backside, front side, so you don't have to pick, post 5 views. Okay, finally done with these, which means I could have done more volumetric. Oh, they're tabletop plus, which means I could have done more volumetric highlights. Just wanted to have fun. Okay. Yeah, so stuff like this is also good to know, because if someone aims for a certain standard, it becomes pretty useless to give them advice for how to get to another standard, right? Oh, not for Friday video. Okay, I'll give it a quick clip. Okay. Yeah, like you said, volumetrics. So one thing that would maybe be a quick fix is to check all the angles for the white. So take this and make it the brightest highlight, and then check this angle and make this a dark shade, and have it become brighter as we go further down. And do the same thing for the axe, right? Just have angles change in hue slightly. That could be an easy thing to add without too much time investment to bring these up a bit more. But yeah, again, like the base, and for the standard you went for, really nice. Apex point is the area that stands up. So if you have like a round, so this is a rounded area, right? There is an area like a line highlight that is the most facing up. I don't know. I'll explain different. So if we have a sphere, so that's like an apex highlight. Generally on figures we will try to find the one that is facing up the most. It's not always the realistic thing to do, but it works, right? Without having to break your brain about where light reflects and all of that. Yeah, that would be the apex for that light source, reflecting directly back in, or the closest area to the light source, right? It's going to be the apex. I think that sums it up nicely. Okay, wait a second. Right, so here, if I look at this, one thing that stands out is that, in my opinion, you need a bit more contrast, right? So if the black, can we make this bigger? No, we can't. Okay, so if you shaded this black, it would appear to me a bit more like a really huge figure. Right now the lack of shading betrays you a bit, because we see that it's a toy soldier, right? So building more contrast on everything. So I would also build more contrasts on the yellows. So maybe even go a bit more into orange and shade some areas down a bit more. Orange brown works really nicely, and you know, for example, everything that faces down or is in the shadow, just make it also darker. Don't rely on the natural shadow cast. That's the #1 thing that usually lifts paint jobs up towards more credible. yeah, so everything else I find really nice. That's just the one thing that will improve this one even more, right? So you're already at a good point, but just paying attention a bit more to where natural shadows would occur. So this would be really dark, then this would be darker, this would also be darker, this would be really dark again. And again, something like this where armor plates overlap. Yeah, so that you make us believe that this is 4 meter high orc or 3 meter high orc. That's a depiction of reality and not a toy soldier, right? Yeah, and also goes for the back sides. On the back, I feel like it's a bit better because of how these exhaust vents are shaded, but you can apply that, you know, what you did on the metallics to everything else, and should even. Okay. Yeah, I know. So what I do is I click here, and then another window pops up, but it's not really bigger, right? And I don't understand. Oh, wait a second. I'm an idiot. Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay, I was zoomed out. Nice. Okay. So also generally, like I said, I will try to find a general thing. I'm not going to talk about every single element. I'll try to pick out a general thing that yeah, will help improve. Let's see. Will help getting to the next step. Thanks for the feedback. You're welcome. Love. Time to go. Bye, Tom. So I'm just trying to see if there's like anything written. Oh, okay. Not a fan of conventional flight stands. Yeah, that's that has been a good solution, I think. Yeah, really nice. Okay, a tiny bit of what we said before. So if I look at the squigs, for example, the fact that the recesses look the same, as in are the same color as the upper areas, betray a bit the scale. So I would add a bit more for volumetric highlights. So just like you did on the arm, for example, as it curves up, it has more highlight on also here. I would just, and you can just go back and do that, right, without too much effort. Just highlight these areas of the squigs that are facing up. So more volumetric highlights on these parts, and then a few deeper shades, for example, on the rifle or on that gun. You can make certain areas darker, definitely those indents, then some parts here, and also do a bit more variation on the yellow. Also do a bit more variation on the blue, and some more shadows here, for example. Just generally more contrast, and when I say contrast, add darker color and also make a color shift. Like again, here using some orange brown is going to help. Or just, you could just wash this, right? Because you want a bit more separation here in that part. And it's also going to give you variation in the color. Yeah, so maybe you could do a bit more of that orange brown also on the white tones. I feel a bit, so yeah, also maybe look at references on how dust and rust and dirt collects on features. I think, you know, sometimes you probably wanted to finish it and then you went a bit faster. You can again watch a few or look at a few references on where dust and rust collects. And also, let's see, for example, rusted white. Yeah, so looking at this stuff especially, it should give you good ideas and good color reference, both color reference and where stuff like that collects. I would do that. Okay, next up. Oh yeah, sure, super cool model. So yeah, it's always, again, I'm going. People are coming to me to point out what they can improve. Okay, bit of a work in progress. So hard to say so far. Again, we talked about that in the private sessions. Sometimes your photos are a bit overexposed, so it's kind of hard to tell what's going on here. Yeah, so when you're taking pictures, try to pull down your exposure, guys. If there's areas where you painted something, how to say, distinct, and then in the photo it gets blown out like this and you can really tell the difference, then you probably have to pull down your exposure. So again, hard to say where it's going, so it's kind of hard to critique, but let's see, the skin tones, it feels a bit like in some areas you went for blue shades and then for purple or brown. So I don't understand necessarily the pattern you chose for that. Other than that, yeah, it's hard to say. Maybe also maybe the model is not super, as indeed the sculpt is not really helping with that. Maybe, you know, go for a bit more of a global light up here and tone down maybe these parts a bit more, especially as he's hunching over. So play a bit more with the composition, maybe just drawing more light up here and then less light as we move down here. But yeah, it's kind of tricky to say because you started the skin tones and not much else, so it's hard to say where the light is coming from and so on. But yeah, again, I'll happily give additional advice once you are further into the paint job. Okay. Okay, I'm trying to make something of it. Okay, I think it's a bit better. Yeah, generally try to make try to get a background for the photos. Again, watch my how to take pictures of miniature video to make the, you know, the, how to say, to make the thing you want to photograph the main thing. So it should probably be more like this, right, the figure, and then less background, because it also confuses the camera and it doesn't necessarily take the best picture of your work and it misrepresents it color wise. Okay, again, whenever it's a work in progress, it could be that I can't say too much because I don't know the end result, and on an end result, or if people say this is finished, then that's easier to critique than work in progress. Yeah, so hard to say. Hard to say because I also don't know what's going to happen with the black areas. Yeah, sorry. I mean, the one thing that I can say is maybe you need a bit more of you need to study more where reflections on areas would be. So I like the green, right? You can maybe go a bit darker on the shades and shadows. Definitely can go a bit darker. But the highlights, I like the color. But definitely try to study how reflections work on cylinders, and also up here. Right now it looks a bit too stripy almost, right? So there's a stripe here, there's a stripe here, and then there's a lot of stripes down here. Try to see how reflection patterns work. So for example, on a cylinder, you can study, so not necessarily this, but let's go. Metals. So you rarely have the same two reflections. Of course, now I'm not finding it. So maybe this is a good thing, right? You have a main reflection that is wider, and then you have secondary reflections that are not as wide. So here, for example, on your piece, every reflection kind of is the same width. So try to vary that. Have a main reflection and have a couple of secondary reflections if we want to. That's my point. That's the main thing. We can improve there. Not for Friday. Okay. Give it a shout out regardless. Yeah, I really like the composition. Colors work nicely together. Yeah, I guess you worked with a swatch. Okay, nice. Careful with the Google search and which I thought the same thing, yeah. Okay, we went over this one in a private session. So yeah, we talked about what can be improved here. The main thing, or one main thing, was that we would also have to have a few reflections back here, or not reflections, but yeah, reflections, I guess, of the light source, right? And then we would also have to think about whether or not these are casting shadows. But yeah, this is a really nice paint job, and it's a good example for a compositional paint job, right? So the composition, the end result on the photo is almost the photo is almost the end result, not the miniature, right? And in that regard, you have to pay attention. It becomes like really how to wrap your head around all of this. But yeah, I just want to show it because I didn't have too many complaints about this, like, obviously, right? We just talked about like minor details and basically how to, whether or not anything was forgotten. And yeah, again, this is a really nice paint job. I just want to show what, you know, my students sometimes also produce something that looks really awesome. And I would probably not, personally I would probably not paint something like this, but yeah, it's a really awesome result because I don't necessarily want to play too much with ambience. Okay, so yeah, and another thing, sometimes I don't have anything to say, right? So what would you guys say is off about this paint job? Is there anything you could critique or improve? It would just be like super minor things that are probably not on a on an objective level, but just a personal level, right? So personally, I might have tried to use more texture on these things, but I mean, what does that add to how to say? There's nothing to improve here, right? This is a really nice paint job. It would maybe be minor things that are almost impossible to say from a picture, right? So maybe if we turn it around, we would see that a tiny highlight is maybe slightly off, or there's a, I don't know, slight how would you say that? Like slight error, mistake, quote unquote, here, right, in that gradient that might have to be fixed. If you wanted to enter it into competition, you could always nitpick and say, okay, there's a bit of an imperfection here. If two models are painted to the same standard and there's like a tiny imperfection here, that could drag you down. But yeah, as I can't really critique anything here, right? This is a really nice paint job. Also, I like how the OSL is not really, how to say, taking over the composition. It's a bit more complementary. So that's personally, I like this a bit more, right? But again, that's personal opinion. But yeah, a really nice placement of colors too within the face, and also the way that he painted the eyes complements the sculpt. Like, it looks like she's, because the eye, what's it called, the iris and the pupil are not in the center. It looks a bit more like she's ripping her eyes open, staring at you, right? So that's a good thing too. Good effect. Channel is, I don't know how to translate that, but thanks a lot, Wohin. Comments on that? I think there's something wrong with the baby, but I think that's the point. Yeah, exactly. Okay, sometimes I will also reference back to earlier things. So here, I feel like this has really good parts and some parts that could be improved, as in, look at the sword, that's a really nice contrast. And then there's some areas that don't contrast at all. So for example, I would try to, wait, let's make this bigger. Yeah, so I would try to at least incorporate some of that brightness into the rest of the steel part. So for example, this area I would probably go a bit brighter. Also, one thing, maybe it's the photo, right? So the photo is a bit grainy, and maybe what I'm saying is already there, and it's just a photo that doesn't make it look like there is. Also, I'm kind of torn whether or not it's a work in progress. But if it isn't, then I would definitely also do the edge highlights a bit more intense, like on all of these parts. Yeah, and then maybe a few more shading in the inside parts of the belts, and then I would definitely do something with the feathers. Like pick a feather pattern that you like I don't know, eagle. Probably not the best idea. Let's see. Falcon. Yeah, some pattern like this, right, where you have a couple of different colors and try to apply that, and also work in a few more details like strokes, brush strokes. But again, I'm unsure whether or not this is work in progress. But yeah, again, I'd like to see the contrast that you have here on the rest of the model. Yeah, really good start. Okay, we kind of dropped 100 viewers, so I don't know if this is a good idea to make on stream, to do on stream. But yeah, okay, another paint job that I already saw yesterday, or whenever it was posted, where I'm not going to say a lot, right? So not much I can critique here. I think the light placement is really well done. One thing, because it's a miniature, I would probably try to highlight a few edges like on the stone. So maybe here, just for the sake of and not acknowledging that there's a change, so that two angles are meeting. But I can't say much about this, as in it's really good, right? So yeah, can't really say that I have an idea for improving this. Awesome. Okay, doing a piece with some OSL. I think I have my mid to high highlight in place, but mid to high highlight in place. Okay, but I don't know what to use for shadows on a purple squig. Okay. Yeah, so I agree. I think the OSL is probably coming from this area. Because it's fading out a bit towards this area. I would probably still try to find, or bit of a, not the very brightest highlight color, but something here to just have a thin line run down here, just like we said before with the cylinders, just to have a bit more light here. And then the tricky thing will be what to do with the rest, right? So I would probably try to make everything really dark. So maybe an idea could be to take this purple and mix it in black and make it darker towards the outside. And then you would probably have to have one highlight that is bluish run across this too, because them might be moonlight, and yeah, you need that secondary light because it just looks better, and it's not going to be, even if it's dark, there still might be some light source somewhere, and this would reflect because it's a cylinder too, would have a reflection line. But yeah, I would again try to make that outline really dark, and then just on the edge maybe a tiny bluish highlight. That's going to work pretty nicely. But yeah, bit of a more lively paint job, right? But that's obviously just a different style, and it's nice too. Okay. So wait, there was something written. I'd like some feedback on the model, particularly my freehands on the banners. It may not be obvious without zooming, but I just couldn't seem to get them bodily smooth. I believe I did well with the shapes and colors, but I can't figure out how to smooth the shadows and highlights. Yeah, so I mean that's the thing. How to make paint smoother is a very idiosyncratic thing, because it depends on how you hold your brush and all of that, and how you thin your paints and so on. So we have to try and find objective things, how to make paint behave more smoothly, and obviously that's float improver, for example. So glaze medium and all of that. Kind of accepting that this is really tiny and it's acrylic paint, and that you can't really expect acrylic paint to be 100% smooth is also another thing. But I would try flow improver like glaze medium, and thinning, just working with thinner layers of paint. There's no way around it, and then practice, right? That said, I guess you could have done a few more thinner edge highlights, right? So if you have this here, trying to just you have it here too. No, I think that's okay. And I mean it's tricky to give feedback on freehands, because there's not so many objective things you could say, right? There's more subjective things, and I don't necessarily think subjective things help with improving. So what do I mean with that? I feel like it's a bit more of a comic style, right? I'm personally more after super realistic or hyper realistic almost, as far as proportions and all of that goes. But yeah, I feel like the comic style is really well realized here. Let's see. Yeah, and one minor thing maybe as far as composition goes. So personally, I would have either just done a bit more minimalistic, so maybe just a frame, so maybe a square here around this, and then just leave the black, the yellow, and have the thing in the middle, the emblem in the middle, or done more of these swirls, right? Just have them be bigger and be a wider pattern. This way it's a bit neither here nor there. So that was the other thing that I kind of noticed. So yeah, maybe, you know, look at banner designs, but artworks or real life banners, real life flags or house banners, something like that. It's going to help. Okay, work in progress on one of my busts. So one thing is contrast. You need more contrast. So pick a pick a light source. So let's say from this side, and then make it a reflection run down here, make everything brighter. Again, take into account the luminosity, so have a bit of a yellowish tint before you go to a whiter highlight again. Yeah, also back of the nose, all of these shapes, more volumetric highlights, right? This would catch a lot more light here. Color wise, it looks good, nice. The lips are maybe a tiny bit too red. The beard, it's tricky because the beard is sculpted. So personally, I try to make the beard a bit darker and then just have highlights on the sculpted upper parts. So yeah, especially around these areas that would be shaded, to just make those darker. Yeah. And then again, contrast, right? Faces are reflective. We need more highlights here. Other than that, I think you're on a good way. Okay. Right, same applies here. I feel like the face needs a bit more color variation. So one thing that's always tricky is, or to realize, is that, you know, this part needs to be this bright. So everything here is really dark, but when we look at a face, depends a bit on how it's lit, obviously, but just taking a random picture, right? So there's let's see, it's bigger. There is no shadow here. There's a shadow here, right under the brow, but all of this is bright. So what we need to do is, or what most people don't do, is start off a midtone. So if you started off of a midtone, that would be more like this here, right? You could have just painted a shadow here and then the highlights. But right now, everything here is too dark. So that's why you're going to get in trouble, and that's why the faces may not look incredible enough. Right, so that will be my advice. Start off of a midtone and then shade down areas, and don't start really dark and try to highlight everything, because that way it's gonna be tricky. Thank you, senpai. I know yet I ask. That's fine, right? But yeah, guys, if you're watching and you have any questions, feel free to ask questions in between too. happy to answer. And also, if you have any comments on the miniatures, it's fine to say too. Yeah, for the head, for the hat, I would like to see a few darker spots in these areas and maybe a bit wider highlights. So right now you have a highlight line that runs across here. Just taking a brown ink, for example, and glazing the ink into this recess, and then maybe mixing a bit of black into the brown ink and doing just the areas that face downward. So maybe a bit more like back here, right? So back here, I feel like that color is more interesting. Yeah, so leather has this quality of, I think this one is good. Yeah, so can go really dark, but it's also reflective, and then can wear. So there's a couple of so it's not always one color, base color and the highlight color of that version and the shadow color of that version. It is multiple shades of color, right? So here you have a bit of a more whitish highlight. Here you have a highlight that is due to wear, and that's the inner side, or the a fresher part of, or just a brighter part of the leather shine through. So it's combinations of these that make heads or leather parts a bit more interesting. And then of course it's aging and breaking, and so adding patterns of breaking leather also helps. Yeah, so just see how there's so many different variations of leather. So here you can also have a darkened edge and so on. Much more variation. You can just play around with variation in these parts. I like the denim shirt. One thing I would do is I try to distinguish the parts from each other a bit more. So here, dark lining, for example. But yeah, I like the texture. Again, so the leather belt, make it darker in the recesses, and just keep it this bright in these areas. Just more contrast, right? The rest is a bit overexposed, so it's hard to tell, unfortunately. Can't say much here, sorry. Yeah. Okay, see what's next. Okay, I feel like we talked about these, yeah, further down, so that's just an older post. Blue shirt looks nice, lighting is interesting. Yeah, exactly. Okay, again, work in progress, kind of hard to talk about. Yeah, so I like what you have going on here with the white that is shaded down. So again, overexposed a tiny bit, hard to say. Yeah, again, without seeing so for work in progress pictures, it's always a bit tricky unless you have a particular question. Like if you said finish this boot, and I tried to accomplish an effect of I don't know, like almost a ceramic effect, then I would say, yeah, that's pretty good, right? You did exactly what you wanted to achieve. But I can't say much about composition and all of that. That said, so the parts that are finished, I think are really smooth, really nice smoothness and contrast also. Yeah, I'll wait for further parts. Let's see if there's like a question here. No. Yeah. So maybe for these parts, try to pay attention or remember that you have a light source, a global light source. So the upper parts are going to be brighter, and as we go down, they're going to be a bit darker generally, right? you'd still have to take care of the individual highlights, but just take that into account. Okay, we saw these further down. We also saw this attempt at non-metallic metal. Feel pretty good about it. Thoughts? So I like the color choice, I would say. Let's see, come on, it's bigger. Color choice is nice. Maybe go a bit darker in some spots, and then I feel like you're a bit undecided about the reflection. So I would say you can make this reflection a bit wider, and then pull this one down a bit further so that it's a bit more away, but make it small like this. Yeah, so just really make a bright, big reflection here, and then also make sure that you have the edges highlighted. So I don't exactly know where it's facing. So if this is up, right, then make these reflections brighter. If this is up, make these edges brighter and this edge brighter, and so on. Yeah, that's always an important part. But yeah, again, I like the color. There's not that much going on here. There is stuff going on, right, but it's not going as bright. I think that can be good. I don't necessarily want to do anything brighter here, but make sure that you have at least, so you have this part bright and this part bright. I would just make one edge at least really bright, and then the other one can be a bit less intense. That's fine. Okay, same thing. Blends are quite rough. Yeah, so that's another thing. I cannot. So I have a couple of basics videos on my Patreon. Right, so that would be painting tutorials. So the layering and glazing video is free. That's on YouTube. But I have the basics part 1 and part 2, where I talk a lot about brush movements, how to do paint consistency, and then how to treat spheres and shapes, and how to make smooth blends. That's what the videos are for, right? I cannot really in a feedback setting teach you anything about blending. That's not really possible. So I can do that in a one-to-one session in real life, because I can look at what you do and how you blend, and then I can tell you what might be going wrong. That said, I feel like these blends are really smooth. So maybe it's a thing of acrylics. You just can't blend acrylics hyper smooth, right? But yeah, again, I would say these are pretty smooth. Okay, we already had this. Oh yeah, and then something that I also like is how people interact on the Discord, where they're throwing around ideas, right? And they're using color wheels and color combinations, for example, to suggest something. Really proud of my community in that regard, because especially in the feedback sections, they always come together and try to find solutions for other people. Okay, blurry pick. So I can't say much about the details. I really like the color combinations. I like how there's so that's an effect that you can do, right? So having cool colors in the front, and then having warm colors in the background. And I also like how the light plays here, so how this is yellow and the inside is a bit more dark, and how that creates an interesting frame to read, to look at. So the front again being a different color, different warmth, and the background. Really nice composition. Maybe it needs a bit more focus as far as the highlight goes. So, you know, maybe okay, I mean, I guess this is global light, since all of these edges are highlighted, but maybe still. So I'm assuming this is metal, so you would probably have a highlight run down here. So again, this is super bright, and then there's no brightness here. A bit more consistent highlighting of the shapes, right? And the shapes are kind of connected, so you'd have that highlight run down here and down here, and that would draw everything together. But the rest is hard to say because it's a blurry pic. Okay. Here I would recommend watching my volumetrics highlights videos. So all of this area would probably be brighter, right? So this fold is almost the same color as this, or same value as this, but everything here would be bright. Then the shoulders would be bright. Not only this edge. Not only this edge. Of course, this would be brighter than this, but as a whole, this would be brighter, right? So, yeah, definitely check out the volumetrics. And for the blacks, maybe a few more edge highlights. And also you can look at how a cylinder reflects, and even with metallics, you can also paint a reflection line running down here. Unless it is already painted and this is just not a big enough photo. Yeah, that would be my idea for this one. This is really happy. Need more work. Any other feedback? Okay. Yeah, so I think composition wise you're on a good way. So working on the reflections in the black, working on the reflections in the white. One thing maybe double check the shape and whether or not this is a shape that might need more highlights up here. And in general, I mentioned it earlier, try to make the upper areas a bit brighter than the lower areas. So don't necessarily have the same value here as you have up here. Yeah, other than that, maybe also more variation in the white. Could be that it's overexposed, but make some areas darker and maybe have the reflection just here, the brightest highlight here in the middle, and then have it fade more towards gray here, and then just keep the brightness with the edge highlights. You're welcome, Edward. Okay. So this is a nice paint job because it's more experimental, right? And that's what I always encourage people to do. Try to experiment with different textures and different materials, and don't necessarily always do what I do, which is a bit more of a historical, accurate painting style. So I really like the composition here. Colors work really nicely. Again, I'm not much I can critique here. Maybe one thing, maybe the base is almost too realistic for how out there the rest of the paint job is. I mean, I don't really have any critique here, right? Maybe. No. Yeah, maybe you could just do one more thing. Maybe have this reflection run down a bit more. So yeah, because that's a really big area that has not a lot going on. So maybe that's just one thing. And then you could consider also doing the edges a bit brighter to increase the readability. So I'm kind of missing an edge highlight here because you have it here, and you could say, yeah, it's facing down, but just don't make it as bright, right? Not as bright as this, and the problem is solved. But yeah, it could also be that you just missed it. Maybe a wider highlight here for the same reason of not being too boring. But yeah, looks super awesome. Okay. How do you paint richer, cool colors like blue? What is the main thing I need to get the non-metallic to look better? Okay. Yeah, so color-wise, I think the non-metallic looks really nice, and it's a bit of a blurry picture. I would not change a lot. What I would do is I would highlight all edges. You know, you can start here by using some yellow like here and just highlight the edge. I think that's almost, you know, you have a good reflection here. You would kind of expect something similar here, maybe not as bright. That's why I said pick maybe the yellow and do this edge, just anything that faces up. So here you could probably define that. Whenever there's metal involved and there's edges, you will have really bright reflections. You could do another reflection pattern running down here. So because this is a bent cylinder, I'm just picking a reflection line that runs across here, and then also doing the edge highlights. Right? Other than that, I really like the color. Not much to critique about that. Rich blues is always something that's difficult. I would almost treat it the same way as I usually try to work with red. Shade it down a bit. Keep a really lively blue as your midtone, and shade it down a lot, and then maybe do a tiny bit of a highlight. That's usually what I do to get lively blues. Okay, yeah, again, a compositional piece with a lot of OSL. I would have to really bend my head around it if there's anything wrong. On first sight, I don't think there is. Yeah, I like the colors. Colors work nicely together. Let's see, is there anything else? Is there any picture? Okay. Okay, minor thing maybe. I'm not 100% convinced about the eyes. You would probably have to double check the proportions of how the pupil relates to how big the eye is. And then I don't exactly know where the light source, the main light source, is coming from. But probably tricky, hard to say. I'm kind of irritated because I don't know if you would have a really bright reflection like this here. Here probably. Again, it's a minor thing and hard to say without seeing this in real life. Yeah, so I would try to see for the hair. Try to treat the hair as a global thing, or you know, part of this sphere, or the sphere that is the face, and then just think where the highlight needs to go. But yeah, overall I think composition is nice. Again, it's a compositional piece with a lot of different light sources, so hard to nitpick, like, okay, is there a reflection wrong here or a reflection wrong there? Okay. Yeah. Again, same problem. Monitor is overshadowing everything. I almost go blind just looking at this. However, we still can kind of see tiny bits of the miniatures. Main thing again with the greens is I would go darker. So you have a really bright reflection pattern, but to make it look metallic, you need to go darker. So shading these areas towards black is going to improve these massively. Yeah. And yeah, maybe maybe going a bit brighter, just painting an apex highlight on the grays. And maybe giving it another pass for black, because right now it mainly reads as gray. You could consider applying a filter of blue, almost like I do with the Black Templar video that I have done a while ago. Is my chat still working? You guys are not saying anything. Yeah, more contrast on these is the main thing. Okay, and with that, I think we will close it. I'm just going to check if anyone else posted. Okay, because I'm unsure if this is a good format for a live stream. Oops. Yeah, so I don't have much critique for this one. I can say what I really like. So maybe be a bit more deliberate with trying to so right now it almost feels like you touched some areas after you applied the highlights. So I would try to reapply a bit of light on these how to say, I'm lacking the word, the small nublets coming out there, because you know, of course you need to paint the volumetric light, and then you have to do all the individual things too. And I guess you could just take a brush and run it across and try just hitting the upper areas here. Yeah, other than that, I really like the effect, as in it looks like a beetle almost. I like that. Okay, and then we have this one. Yeah, so this is so I would ask you to, I mean, this is hard to say, right? How far are you? Wait, are you saying that? Okay, third figure you have painted. Got it. So when painting miniatures, you have it on the gold a bit, right? Where you try to create more contrast. So there's dark areas here, dark areas here. Try to also do that on the metallic, on the steel metallics. So this could go a lot darker. This over here, this as it bends down, this, and I see that you try to do that, right? But you can go a lot harder on this. Just go really hard on the contrast. Yeah. So start with this in mind. Contrast is everything in miniature painting, and yeah, especially on reflective parts, you can have really dark areas and really bright areas next to each other. Yeah, keep at it. Keep at it. Okay, last one. Okay, that's going to be another thing where I can't critique much. I don't want to just critique for the sake of critiquing, right? Yeah, I like it a lot. It's mostly about how the colors interact with the browns, and yes, we're learning. Taking notes. Yeah, nice colors, nice contrast. Maybe here and there a bit darker. So for example, down here you could maybe make this darker to make the highlights stand out a bit more without going too bright, because this up here should probably be the brightest area. So again, neat little trick. You can go darker down here while you keep more at a mid-tone, less highlighted, and it's still going to look contrasting without having to necessarily compete with this up here, right? Yeah, no, I like it. It's a nice composition, nice color choice. Okay, that was the first feedback session. Let me know if this is, if this works for you as someone who posted feedback. Obviously, it doesn't work as a general thing because we lost like 200 viewers. So I need to maybe rethink that. But yeah, just give me feedback on what you think about it. I will go just quickly back to this. And yeah. Everyone gets a bit of advice on the piece, and even on others' work you can still learn. Yeah, exactly. I thought it was, generally a good idea because everyone's kind of lusting after another video where they can, put in a video. But I guess it's maybe just interesting if you have something in it, and if you don't, then it's not. Demon bumps, exactly. But yeah, thanks a lot, guys. I'll hop off. Thanks a lot for all the support, all the follows, all the new patrons, and so on. And yeah.